So, Paul, what shaped table would you have in your secret society of knights?
I'd have one stool, and everyone just constantly fighting over it.
That way, and whoever gets the stool is the King Arthur of that day. That's actually quite egalitarian.
You're now King Arthur.
For today. Until, you have to go use the men's room. I just left for 5 minutes. Sorry, mate. I'm King Arthur now.
And then the next day, it's like, well, we can fight for it now. Yeah, but John died on that stool. He shat himself and pissed himself. And he ate on that stool until he died. And now I don't want it. What was that, mate? I couldn't hear you. I was too busy becoming King Arthur.
And that's how communism was born. When someone shat in the last throne, nobody wanted to take it. Suddenly power remained with the people.
Hey, what would be your table?
My table would be everyone facing out. So it's circular, but everyone sits on the inside facing outwards so that no one can see anyone else. It's really inconvenient. Nothing gets done.
Doctor Strangelove would have been improved massively.
You take that back! Who? You! What?
And then it just cuts to Peter Sellers riding a nuclear bomb, which is how that movie ended.
I've seen it. Honest.
Seen it at least once. Welcome to One Good Thing, a podcast based on real archaeological evidence. I'm Paul Goodman.
Let me tell you about a gal I had. Galahad. Galahad.
Oh, good. That's why you chose this, isn't it?
I came up with that gag. Let me think. Alexander. No. Kingdom of Hervan.
Today, Paul Salt is back in the dock where he belongs, and he seems to have taken my Adam Sandler-thon very personally to the centre of his several hearts, because today we will be going over King Arthur, the director's cut, the longest possible version he could have suggested.
Not the longest film I could have suggested, though, Paul.
Small mercies.
Oh, no.
My father told me great tales of you. Fairy tales. People so brave, so selfless that they cannot be real. Arthur and his knights.
My duty is to my men.
Directed by Antoine Fuqua, responsible for other stupid films like Training Day and The Magnificent Seven,
Bullshit.
The film also stars everyone, which was nice.
Yeah.
Written by David Franzoni, whose writing credits include Gladiator, which was also written by John Logan, who wrote Hugo, Skyfall, Penny Dreadful and The Aviator, but not this film. Critics welcomed the film like a noble knight ordered on one last job before retirement. Mark Stein at The Spectator said, Clive Owen is a very dour plonker of an Arthur and has zero chemistry with Keira Knightley. So the 70s had Horsey X Model Pool and the noughties have dour plonker, and I think I know where I'd rather
And
be.
Guy Ritchie watched that and thought, dour plonker, we'll see about fucking that, mate. You think that was a fucking blokey kind of King Arthur? Give me 5 minutes. Got a bloke named Hunnam for you. Hunnam. Gotta come him. He's gonna come him. Watch out, he's gonna come him. Ah!
Oh, it's Charlie. I know who it is, mate. You just said.
I heard the rap.
Wendy Ide at the
Oh,
Times
brilliant.
UK.
Love her.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
She said the film attaches itself to the Arthurian legend like some parasitic worm. Like some parasitic worm, Paul.
Bullshit.
One that we know is out there but has refused to reveal itself until now, 2004.
She's a total hack. Hate that chick.
Yeah.
Don't know what
Always
she's
have.
on about. Always have.
Well, speaking about always have, Peter Travers of the Rolling
Fuck
Stone,
yeah.
get ready for this, says Gladiator Light. Fantastic stuff as ever from Peter Travers of the Rolling Stone.
He said that and then he rolled back into his stupor.
He went to sleep in an adult shoe, which is...
They climbed into. Oh,
He's
Peter
the-
Travers is adorable. He's got a little waistcoat, and he sets out to sail in his little pond in an upturned Coke can that he paddles.
He's got a oh, what the fuck's it called? Bollocks.
Finger.
He's got a thing for a nightcap. It's meant to be adorable. Fuck Peter Travers.
Fuck, it was meant to be fucking adorable. I can't fucking do this. Go to sleep, kids. Fuck you.
We want to know about Peter Travers, Grandad.
The legends of Peter Travers.
It's not as good as The Borrowers. The Borrower was light, says Grandad.
Once upon a time in a little cottage, there lived a film critic. That's not Bagpuss.
Something, though.
Oliver Postgate would be turning in his grave. As he will be when Bagpuss 2.0 gets released next summer.
By director Charlie Hunnam.
Bagpuss is back, everyone.
And he's a tasty geezer.
Fuck me. He's like Del Boy meets Romeo and Juliet.
That's what geezer means, everyone. Probably is, actually. The public reacted like a band of noble knights about to begin their last job before retirement, some of whom were excited to be done, some of whom were a bit sad, but none of whom knew that they would actually be asked to do one more final job before retirement, rendering their emotions and opinions worthless.
Classic Rome.
J. Moody, 1977, after painstakingly describing the historical inaccuracies of this
That rings a
movie,
bell.
including the Saxons invading from the north and mistaking the thing near the sea as Stonehenge, summarises on IMDb that King Arthur is a poo film, even without the stupidity. It's bad.
Even without the stupidity. It was the stupidity that really made it for me.
T-Jax.
He's a character from Mortal
Nice.
Kombat, I think. T-Jax.
Tekken and Mortal Kombat.
I love the differences between the announcers in those two franchises. Mortal Kombat, T-Jax, Raiden. And then Tekken, get ready for the next battle! Okay, everyone.
This is okay. This is going to be great. It's Ben Elton. Lesser known role.
The Soul Calibur guy introduces Twixt two worlds meets two announcers from different video games. The fire burns in their hearts. It's Mortal Kombat guy, and Tekken guy.
Okay.
You're going down, Mortal Kombat guy.
I really regret doing the 7th Soul Calibur.
Your bones will burn. Fatality.
T-Jax, also on IMDb, said, "My high hopes for the movie, King Arthur, were dashed before the film even opened in theatres by critics who were panning the movie from advanced screenings. So, lots of comments here, I stayed away while it was in theatres and most definitely passed on special discounts on the week it was released to DVD. After finally getting around to renting a copy, I'm left with just one burning question. Why the hell do I listen to movie critics? The movie King Arthur has it all. A tight, well-written story, believable characters, gritty realism, a great musical score by Hans Zimmer, epic battles, and more blood and splatter than you probably really wanted to see. The bottom line is that King Arthur is a very good film. No, it's not the mythical Camelot, but it doesn't try to be, nor does it trample all over the name of King Arthur by making him a shallow or less than heroic character. This is not Braveheart or Gladiator, but it is a film worth seeing and appreciating. Now that I think about it, it's worth buying a copy to add to the home video library." What the hell do any of us listen to movie critics, Paul?
There's absolutely no reason.
They're constant cheating us out of special discounts.
Yeah, there's no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Special discount the week it was released. That's pretty burning, isn't it? We're going to release your film on discount. What? I didn't think that happened. It does sometimes with films like yours.
Oh.
I'm glad that they weren't trying to do magical Camelot style King Arthur. It would be very disappointing if they had tried for that and gotten at this. I mean, Merlin's in it, but I didn't think much of his magical spells. It seemed to be limited to good beard management, which, to be fair, I mean, in the wilds, no mean feat. You alright, mate?
Yes, I am. Give me 5 seconds. It has 6.3 on IMDb and it has 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. Paul, you bastard number 3. Ah! What made you want to mark my face? Because the next time you'll see it, it will be the last thing you see on this earth.
Yes, there's a bit of an awkward repetition of C in that.
Yeah.
You've seen my face, and next time you see my face, it'll be the last C that you see face on this earth's face. See?
See?
I know what you're talking about. I can do a pretty good Stellan Skarsgård in this. I've got some sort of accent.
Just be tired.
I'm not really sure what. You're just sleepy. I ran here from Dogville. I've been planning to do one of these films probably since we started the podcast. Here's a story. When I was 16, my mother came down the stairs. We hadn't seen her in years. She came down and she said, "They reviewed that film you like in the newspaper." And it was on the computer, so it was a bit of a novelty back then. And we all went up. Well, I went up.
Crowded
My
around.
sister came. We crowded around for warmth. We ate the sausage roll we had. And we read the review.
You each had a lick.
One lick each, and then we put it back in the fridge for next week. The film was Ridley Scott's Kingdom of Heaven. And I remember 2 things in this review. Firstly, it argued that the film tried so hard to not portray either the Islamic or the Christian side badly that it robbed it of any sense of drama, which I remember disagreeing with even at the time. Even as an idiot 16-year-old. Secondly, I remember it describing a phenomenon in which Hollywood directors were competing to see who could put the largest army on screen. And that described a decade-long period of Hollywood epics that revived the sumptuous costume dramas of the 1950s and 60s, like Cleopatra and such, but added, thanks to Mel Gibson, visceral, grandiose battle sequences.
Yeah.
Just imagine what it would have been like if Richard Burton had properly headbutted a guy to death in one of the scenes of Cleopatra. Wouldn't it have been better?
Yes.
I think so. Braveheart. It started with Braveheart and it concluded with Alexander.
Yeah.
So there's a 10-year period there. And I just have an enormous love for the 9 or so films that were made in that period. It was around my teenage years. And yeah, it just really played into that adolescent fondness for swords and castles and great big battles and the like.
I like that framing it as 9 films makes me think that it came out of the same manifesto. Like Lars von Trier came up with it in a basement. We should have the biggest possible battle on screen.
I say 9. I mean, you could count Master and Commander in this, and maybe even the Lord of the Rings films, or at least the second and third one, I think. They kind of work in the same thing. But anyway, I really wanted to defend the entire movement here. And for a while, there were different things we were thinking of doing. We were going to watch Kingdom of Heaven, the incredibly long version of it, but then that's actually quite well respected, the longer version. At one point, I think I pitched the idea of us watching all 4 versions of Alexander.
Yeah, you fucking lunatic.
Yeah, none of which are under 3 hours. One of them is nearly 4.
Was that before we had lives?
It was before we were alive.
We found a lot of things to do.
When we were both undead. To be fair, it was when we were living together, and all we did was just stare at the paint can for 6 hours a day after work.
That's a good paint can, but
yeah,
it's gonna go eventually.
After 5 hours, just I'm gonna call it a night, mate. Oh, yeah?
Nice.
I nearly went for Luc Besson's The Messenger, the Joan of Arc story, which we may well come back to someday, because I'm sure I remember it being good.
I hope we will.
I'm sure I remember being like, Mila Jovovich is good in this one. This and The Fifth Element prove that Mila Jovovich is good. I'm sure of it. And Dustin Hoffman's in it, Vincent Cassel. Everyone who was ever at any point in their life French is in that movie. So we've got to go back to that.
We will.
But I decided to go for something a bit lighter, possibly because of the horror of Holmes and Watson last week. So yeah, here we are with King Arthur, which still has all the stuff I love about this movement, and less.
A lovely light romp through Arthurian legend.
This is not it. Thanks, Clive Owen.
Starring Clive Owen, I forgot to say.
Oh yeah,
as King Arthur himself.
Convincingly King Arthur.
Well, Paul, that sounds exactly like the Lesser of Three Weevils as a Master and Commander reference there.
Oh, I love that one. Oh, yeah. God, I love that film.
I laughed at that. I was a teenager and I found that hilarious.
I just love the fact that Maximus Decimus Meridius made such a lame joke. It really made me smile, because if I remember correctly, he properly loses it with laughter after he says it.
Yeah.
Like,
he is apoplectic with laughter. Yeah, I wonder if when he was doing his little approach in his iconic scene in Gladiator, I am Maximus Decimus Meridius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, lesser of two weevils.
And Ridley Scott was just like, for fuck's sake, one day the director will keep it in.
Speaking of the characters, is it worth establishing who is playing these wonderful characters?
Well, the characters are King Clive, Hannibal Lecter,
yeah, Will Graham,
Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four,
yeah,
Ray the Sandwich Winston, Hippy Joel Edgerton,
not quite Thor,
and Dag.
Dagney will be my personal guard and royal arse kisser. Won't you, Dag?
We love him more than anything.
I love Dag.
With that in mind, with our Dag love agreed on and cemented, why not begin with the plot of King Arthur?
Yes. It starts with text, then voiceover, which is very good. Just in case one wasn't enough.
The text declaring that
historians are idiots.
And now that some proper archaeological evidence has been found.
By Tony Robinson.
We can tell a story. Is it that story? Maybe, with Antoine Fuqua.
We could tell a story. It'll be kind of like Gladiator.
Yeah, that's an unrelated headline.
It's young boy Lancelot, basically. The Roman Empire likes to take soldiers from whole different bunches of places and then stuff them up England. And they take Lancelot away from his home, and he gets given a little bracelet by his little girlfriend, I assume it is.
Sure.
And as he's riding away, the dad character is like, Lancelot! Run! What?
And then everyone goes,
what? I really don't know what your... Is that my name? Is that... I hope that doesn't come up several more times in this film.
Look, Lancelot. The bloody... Everyone in this tiny village is doing it. Look, there are several camera angles.
In this Eastern European village in the Baltic Sea.
That's right, you're all Sarmatians. Sarmatians, keep up.
Samaritans, no Sarmatians. It's very confusing. Oh, I know.
I don't know, I'm just from Spaced and Game of Thrones, I think.
Speaking of definitely not Scotland, though, I'm sure all of the Scottish viewers were absolutely delighted when the film refers to England as the southern half of Great Britain. Yep, exactly down the middle. Scotland's got top half. Tony Robinson smashed it all with his latest find. Turns out Scotland actually starts much further south than we previously thought. Round about Brighton.
Which explains why the Saxons invaded from the north.
They had to. There's only north in England. They didn't invade Plymouth, so it was the north.
Yeah, and then do we have Child Arthur as well, and he's doing something.
He's made a little pottery face thing for his mum, and he shows it to his mum, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice, dear. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I should show it to Mum." And oh, sorry, dear, I got bored. I'm over here now. Mum just fucks off. Are you going to die tragically later in my backstory? Yeah, probably. Okay, good.
Might do.
Don't be late for that.
See how Disney feels about it. And then finally, we're in the modern olden days.
Yes, the camera majestically swoops towards the Arthurian knights and then accidentally swoops right past them and has to come back again later.
That was one of the cameras that Antoine Fuqua attached to a horse for one of the later battle scenes. They put it in a plane.
They shot it out of a catapult. Why did we put it on a horse first? Trading day. Shut up.
Denzel Washington's just standing next to him with his arms crossed and nodding, satisfied. My plan came together.
Yeah, and his car is next to him, also nodding because of that weird pneumatic thing that the 90s had.
They're all there, the merry men. They're watching from a distance as the Woads, who are the Picts. The Picts.
Picts? That sounds dumb. I don't want to call them Picts for a whole movie.
Woads sounds cool, says the production team. Let's go with Woads. Okay. They're attacking a Roman escort. They're escorting the Bishop Cunsbanini. I forget his name. They're escorting him, and the Woads launch an attack where they attempt to kill the bishop and slay the Romans escorting him.
Arthur's having none of that.
Arthur's assemble.
Diddly, diddly. Yeah, the cut rate hands him a piece plays, and they all take out the Picts. Sorry, not the Picts, that's dumb. The Woads. They take them out using their special unique fighting styles.
Yes.
Mads Mikkelsen is a samurai.
Yeah.
King Arthur has a big sword. Mr. Fantastic has 2 swords.
Yeah.
Will Graham, I don't know what Will Graham does, I can't remember.
Nothing.
Ray the Sandwich Winston has 2, knives that he brought from home, then a sort of yelling thing in his own tongue. Hippy Joel Edgerton has an axe, I think, and a bow. Mm-hmm. And Dag has Dag.
Dag has Dag. He headbutts people apart.
He dags you in half.
And this is great, and they obliterate the Pictwoads, except for one guy.
An oxamore Excalibur. I actually fucking have seen this film enough that I think that's pretty close to what he says.
I'm willing to go with that.
Fuck it.
Excalibur Noctamone.
Yeah, he spares the life of a Woad, and Merlin, off in the distance, played by Stannis Baratheon, goes,
oh, is it?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Stephen Delane.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's good because he's not doing unspeakable things in this. So you didn't recognise it.
I didn't recognise him with a look of
Stephen Delane.
Without the look of utter contempt on his face. The knights and some of the Romans get to Hadrian's Wall, where there's a castle that they stay in.
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's go to Hadrian's Wall, they say.
The knights, this was meant to be the big dinner where the knights are going to be freed by Rome because they want to go home, back to Sarmatia, because it's probably nice.
Probably nicer there, yeah. Oh, the bishop isn't dead, by the way. It was a decoy. The bishop was dressed up as a Roman, riding on an horse.
Fantastic.
He's wonderful, this guy. He's a very expressive face-tickle of a man.
Oh, he's a right sort. He comes in and he sees... He wants to sit at the head of the table so that he's in charge. And he gets in and he's like...
A round table? What sort of evil is this?
A round table?
His advisor is stuck-up English dick, so that the bishop gets to be cool and sneaky. And the bishop's like, "No, I'm cool. I'm down with this. The Catholic Church is up to date. We're down. We're cool. Cool dog." He fist bumps everyone and then
check this out. And he does a break dance.
It's very good, actually. He's been practicing that. They have a 3-minute conversation, and no one really respects the bishop.
They're all quite rude, really, considering how powerful he's meant to be.
Yeah.
One of them's like picking his nose and sticking the boogers on the back of his robes.
Oh no. Lancelot keeps making fart noises whenever the bishop moves.
Another one's trying to set fire to his shoes.
Will Graham's just smiling. He's happy to be there.
Another guy is like making a loud fart noise every time he says anything.
Everyone's doing different fart noises, and Will Graham's just laughing. He's in hysterics.
Winston just pulls a man up and throws him out a window.
Will Graham's just like, nice one, everyone. I love being here.
I can't believe it. He's never seen anything like this.
The bishop and King Arthur have a bit of a private chat. And it turns out that, as prophesied by my amazing jokes at the beginning of this episode, that the bishop wants Arthur and his merry men of thieves to go and do one final mission.
To go rescue a bishop's son. A bishop's son.
A bishop's son. Exactly.
John Bishopson. John Bishop.
John Bishop.
They're going to go rescue John Bishop, who was prophesied to bring light entertainment to the world.
I'm a Roman. I can't even fucking do it. I'm Roman, apparently.
That was pretty good.
Oh.
It was getting good.
I was just going back to the Harry Enfield School of Scouse. Hey.
You know, the one...
King Arthur comes out and he meets all of his merry band of bastards. And they're like, nice one. So the bishop's given us permission to go, right? Right? That's why you're looking so sad, right? Because you're sad about leaving us, right? Yeah?
You're sad about how free we all are. Oh, I know.
It's
been a long and crazy journey here, King Arthur. But you know, I'm not king yet. Oh, whatever. But I reckon that once you give us those papers that you've definitely got in your hand, probably, we're all going to be mates after all. You can come back to Samartia with us. They're all Scottish there. It's very confusing by the Black Sea.
Spamartia,
Sparta, whatever. We're going to travel the world, mate.
Whatever.
It's all going to be okay. We've all got to go do one last mission and we're all definitely going to die. Oh.
Well, I'm pretty angry about this, but all right. Because it's you,
all right.
King.
Because, well, look, seeing as it's only the beginning of the film, but if you pull this shit again near the end, you're going to be livid, mate.
That's just shit storytelling, mate.
He goes aside, Clive Owen, and says, "Dear Lord, if someone's got to have a dramatic death scene, please let it be me. I really feel like with my range, I could pull it off."
My death will have a purpose. I ask no more than that.
Why do you always talk to God and not to me?
My faith is what protects me, Lancelot. Why do you challenge this?
I don't like anything that puts a man on his knees.
Galahad comes in and says, "Why are you always trying to hog the limelight? This is my voice." He says,
Is that Lancelot or Galahad?
It's Lancelot. "We're all definitely going to die on this mission, you know, Eddie." And King Arthur says, "How many times have we snatched victory from the jaws of defeat? We've been outflanked, outnumbered, and still we've triumphed." 7. Exactly. So
come on, Lancelot.
Put your shit together and follow
me.
me.
One more time for me, your enigmatic, illustrious leader, Clive.
King Arthur.
Clive Arthur.
Oh, all right. I suppose I shall come with you then.
What do you think, everyone else here? Ah! Moon.
Ooh.
No. Grody.
That's what Dad.
I'm Will Graham. Hello, everyone.
Would anyone like an apple? Fucking Will Graham. He's so upbeat.
Oh,
before he met Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Well, Mads Mikkelsen's here.
Christ is the beginning. So pure pre-Mads.
You can see him creeping up on Will Graham in several shots.
Why do you keep calling me Will? My name's Hugh. You'll see. You'll see, says Mads. I hate you, Mads Mikkelsen. You're the worst. You're the worst, most beautiful man in the world. You know nothing yet.
He is the most beautiful man. He's so strange. Well, speaking of beautiful men, we do at this stage, I think, get a quick cut of the Saxons, who are indeed invading from the north. They invade the north, and they've got a traitor of some sorts. I never quite figure out who this traitor is or see him when he's not traitoring.
No, but he is a traitor.
He is a traitor. He's a proper traitor.
Traitor!
And, the young guy, Till Schreiber, Hugo Stieglitz himself, it says to him, "Tell my father," guy from 4. What's it? Fuck, it's Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Not Sarsgaard. Skarsgård.
No, Skarsgård.
Tell my dad, nymphomaniac, what you told me. Speak up! I haven't started yet.
Well, go on then.
Start and speak up. I anticipated you'd be quiet. Yeah, they tell him about a Roman estate with the Pope's favourite godson in it, and so they're going to go kidnap him, because his ransom would pay for the whole campaign. I'm Hugo Stieglitz.
This hadn't been an issue until now. We didn't really have much in the way of funds anyway. We were just getting by well enough on raping and pillaging. Cash flow.
It's hard to imagine. The sort of, look, the campaign treasury is really running low. We did way more raping than we'd planned to. I know last year we had a deficit, but this year... We've really gone overboard, Dad.
You've cut... Well, I cut from the army. Look, it's not the same thing. You know, it's not the same as actually having money to launch an all-out war against the Brits.
But you know all this land that we keep stealing? Maybe we should try and use it to grow stuff. That's not the way my fathers did it. Lars von Trier.
King Arthur and co.
King Arthur and friends.
Off to the north they go.
Yes.
And
they all head off to Rebus's house. They have a bit of an encounter with some woads before that, but it doesn't really amount to anything. So they get to Rebus's house. Yeah. Yes, and it turns out Rebus, he's been a right dick. He's been hoarding all of the local resources and not sharing it with the peasants that are under him, because it's the Roman way. No. Some bloke mentions...
Most of the food we grow is sent out by sea to be sold. He asked that we keep a little more for ourselves, that's all. My arse has been snapping at the grass, I'm so hungry.
Best line in the film.
What the fuck does that mean? I remember that from being a kid and being like, what?
He's
so hungry.
That his arse is trying to eat for him. Yeah, that feels like just something that is said in the North. I didn't blink at that at all. It's like, yeah, that's it. That's the North for you.
That went in like a clean shit. Oh,
Jesus.
God.
Paul?
You're doing it wrong, mate.
Well, enough of that, because Ned Dennehy's here as well, which is the most interesting thing that I've learned all week.
Which one's Ned Dennehy?
Ned Dennehy was playing the role of Mental Monk, who was the guy who was...
Oh, I did recognise him.
Yeah, he's the one from Tyrannosaur and Mandy and other films.
Oh, is he the one with the vicious dog in Tyrannosaur? I can imagine him in a string vest looking upset.
He's the guy in Tyrannosaur who goes, I've got a lovely bet on, £20 or something like that. And he looks kind of sad.
Your favourite sad man.
Yeah. I have a list. He's currently top.
I'm on there. Not the top 5, though.
That's a compliment, mate.
So I did also make the note, what's this West Country man doing in Scotland?
Don't you know, Paul, that once the Gauls were pushed to Wales, some of them also found their way to Scotland, and their accents were modified on the way.
Yeah. I mean, actually, you've got Ken fucking Stott there. Rebus, he's there. He's the Romans, so maybe the Romans are the ones who taught all of the West Countryers who got pushed up to Scotland how to speak Scottish. It makes sense if you think about it.
The Romans did do an awful lot. I do promise to think about that later.
Okay,
for now.
Put it on your list.
Whilst arguing with stupid idiot Rebus about not leaving his home, even though there are loads, bloody loads of whatever they are, Saxons coming down to smash them up.
Yeah.
King Arthur frees the town, like the wise man of the town, and he also sees some of Rebus's blokes just walling up a thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He says, you can't wall up things in my presence. I'm King Arthur.
De-wall that.
I'm King Arthur, and when I see a wall, I kick it down, not brick it down.
Yeah, he's like, Dag, cut down all of those things with your big axe. Okay. Okay, oh, there's a door behind the thing I just cut down. Okay, who's got the key? We're not giving you the key. All right, Dag, continue to do the thing that you were just doing and just kick down the next bit. Keep kicking down bits until you're in, Dag. That's all you're good for.
We need to do it long enough so we can set up a genuinely beautiful shot. And that happens. And then they're inside.
Yeah.
And then Ned Dennehy's there. And he's like, I'm a man of the Lord, apparently, because I've got all of these pagans in here, and I'm just going to kill them by starving them to death.
I've got a bet on. Yeah, they managed to retrieve a boy who Dag then bonds with, and a Keira Knightley, who everyone bonds with. So
whom Lancelot bonds with, and Clive Owen goes, I think that I'm head over heels for you.
God, if one of us is to have a sex scene with Keira Knightley, let it not be Galahad or Lancelot, whichever one.
Let it not be the fancy one.
I can't remember.
But me.
Oh, you think that I'm not going to sleep with Keira Knightley? Well, you've got another thing coming to you. God, you're weird, Mr. Fantastic.
Go away, Mr. Fantastic.
Go back to your Tim Story movie. They all head off. They wall up that fucking Dennehy guy. And I think they kill Rebus. No, they take Rebus with them, and then they kill him later.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Clive Owen does his one of his fancy moves. The good old-fashioned, I'm reaching towards you as if I was going to molest you, but I'm actually pulling something over your shoulder move. Love it.
Simpler times back then, mate.
Oh, you weren't going to molest me. Oh, I feel closer to you.
But I appreciate you setting it up as though you might have.
I appreciate you not explaining what you were doing as you were doing it.
Oh, hang on. You just got a bit of... There we go. Got it.
Yeah, how about me?
You're welcome.
I'm just going to give you a fruit.
Sword drawn.
Just thought I'd cut it up for you.
Why did you advance on me, you fucking prick?
But they bond a little bit. Keira Knightley knows about freedom, I think.
Yeah, cool.
'Cause apparently, if there's one thing you associate with freezing cold Scotland, it's the freedom. I saw the Mel Gibson movie.
Exactly.
There is a bit where there is rain and snow at the same time, and they comment on it, and I make the note, oh, they did actually visit Scotland then.
Nell pointed out at the time of watching that it was a clear blue sky as well. So, Scotland.
I mean, that could genuinely happen in Scotland. Just all the weather.
Where's it coming
all
from?
At once.
It's coming from our moods, from our dull countenances. Och.
Just the snow emanates from people's faces and accents.
How you doing, Angus?
I'll come back later. We get there's a nighttime shot of Keira Knightley bathing, and it's pure fucking Brockheimer. It's easily could have been a shot out of Pearl Harbor.
I intended for Michael Bay to direct this. True story. There's that. Lancelot is he's the one that's caught spying on a bathing, all up with the nips out.
Oh yeah.
And not to us though, PG-13. And they have a conversation later where Keira Knightley tells him about her people or something, and that's basically like, I'm okay with you having seen my jugs, and he's like great, this is wonderful. Let's have a real good character sharing moment, and they do, and then she goes and sleeps with Clive Owen.
Oh yeah,
for all the chemistry that they've been working on.
I mean, Clive Owen. She also gives a very Brexity speech about controlling her own destiny, and then shoots Rebus. So, which is very much a metaphor for Scotland's interaction during the whole Brexit process.
Oh god.
The Saxons attack, and it's like, well, let's find a nearby open field to meet them on then. So they find a big snowy ice lake.
Ice river.
To fight.
Ice lake, yeah.
Yeah. The Saxons approach, and they get their bows out, and Keira Knightley's like, they're very far out of range. And Clive Owens just says, bitch, please. Who the fuck let this chick out? Oh, Keira Knightley fights, by the way. I know we mentioned she shot Rebus, but she's also like, she's a fighty person.
She's a warrior chick.
Yeah, fuck yeah. It's all empowering, her going around in that bikini, that armor bikini of hers.
Body paint, though. Nothing screams independent woman.
That's a tip they don't give you in Cosmo, is try showing up for your next board meeting in full body paint.
I mean, it's a power play, that's for sure.
So, who do you think we should put in charge of the project? Throw an axe at the whiteboard.
I enjoy the way she embedded that oversized knife into the board table. And it stayed there as well.
It's just the board table now.
This is just an ordinary knife, everybody. Ordinary board table. Check it to make sure there are no divots already existing in the table. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Wonderful, wonderful. Bam! Leader.
Project manager. You did it. Do you know what? You got there 3 months before your mother did. Oh, okay. Weird detail to mention.
We can discuss pregnancy later, but for now that's not a problem. So.
They shoot at the Saxons, and none of them think to use the big round wooden things they have to maybe try and block the arrows that are hitting them.
No, but it's very good tactics, very tactic. Yeah. And they shoot at the sides of them, which cause the Saxons to huddle together for some reason. Keep shooting at the sides of them because they'll huddle together for protection.
But not using those big wood things. Why do we have these? Oh, for sledding.
Or not zigzagging or anything,
Oh fuck, they pull a right Rick on.
They do. They fuck a Rick on right into this tactic. And
well, in the end, Arthur's knights get sick of this, so they throw Till Schreiber at them, and that's Till Schreiber.
Ray Stevenson.
It's Dag.
Yeah.
They throw a dag at them.
Yeah.
And Dag breaks the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Till Schreiber pulls some excellent faces during this.
He does.
Yeah. Then they retreat.
Dour to angry.
But he maintains the dour. He's dourly angry. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Dag is dying now because he gets ballsed up.
Yeah, he does.
Poor Dag.
Oh, poor Dag. That little boy he bonded with.
And Ray Winstone, who is his best friend, apparently.
And that little Ray Winstone he bonded with.
Ray Winstone is beside himself now. He's finally allowed to do some emotions. And he does.
Yeah,
by
he
God.
shoves his hands into his shorts and he runs back off to the caravan.
He goes and puts a bet on. And
cheers him up a bit.
3-1 on getting over this serious bereavement by the end of the film.
Put a bet on it.
Shouldn't have been such good odds.
Yeah, because the next
foreshadowing,
scene is pretty much fine. They all get back to Castle Hadrian's Wall. Yeah, the Roman guy really doesn't manage to read the room correctly. And it's just like, hey, you're all free now.
Welcome
Isn't that
back.
Great? I've got 6 freedom papers. Oh, I could have sworn I needed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Was one?
But okay, no. Wait, one of you was behind the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't understand. 6 heroes, 6 best friends. went out on this trip.
6 legendary warriors.
Inseparable.
What happened?
1, 2, 3. No, look. Okay, you've done this many times. Surely even a bishop would know that you're rubbing salt in the wound. 1.
I don't
So,
understand.
next scene.
Oh, I know, the boring guy. He's not here. Where is that lame asshole?
Oh, well, that's him for the movie. Bye.
Fuck me, that's him for the movie.
Back at the Rome I go, he says.
He goes off on his fucking Vespa.
He goes to appear in Eat, Pray, Love to objectify a lady.
I know what. If I had to sum up Britain in one word, it would be nightly.
So yeah, they have a little funeral for Dag.
Yeah.
Poor Dag.
Oh. They say, okay, well, we're going off now, King Arthur. You stay here. He's like, okay. Well, I'm going to stay and fight for the Britons, who I've decided I quite like. I'm going to defeat the Saxons because they're obviously the bad guys, and they killed your best mate, Dag. Yeah, well, we're probably going to come back. We've just got to go over there. It's like an encore, okay?
You've got to do the thing.
You got to follow the rules of this stuff, okay? Joey Brockheimer's right over there. He scares me more than the Saxons do. They ride off a bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Arthur goes to the top of a hill to have a bit of a pose. For the benefit of everyone, because everyone seems to see it. It's a very tall hill he goes to.
Everyone in England and Scotland sees this hill.
He's still posing by the time the knights have ridden away, had a change of heart, dressed in armour, and then come back to join him.
And the Saxons have seen him at this point.
Yeah, Tristan...
And had a chat with him.
Tristan hilariously and inexplicably kills the traitor from about a country away.
Yeah, which, legend, myth. It's a great payoff. They really built that character up to deserve that death.
He was very poignant, that character.
And then through tactics, they defeat much of the Saxon army.
Yes, the German army says the Saxon army says the German phrase they know about 4 times, and then they all get killed by Keira Knightley in a bikini.
Will Graham's just really glad to be here. He's got someone in a headlock and he's just he's doing everything he can, and
he's being cheeky. He's the one having a cheeky battle.
Oh, hey, don't mind me. He's running around doing little knees up and
you fucking prick! I'll stab you in the face. Will Graham. Got on the way. I was threatening the Saxon.
These guys bum out.
He's wearing his football shorts. What's he doing?
Mads Mikkelsen and says, he's perfect.
One day I shall own his...
I will take him apart one day.
I will keep pieces of him in my living room.
First fuckboy, then pieces.
At this point, Lancelot dies, and it looks like it's up to Knightley to avenge... Oh, no. No. Dying Lancelot lobs a sword at the guy who killed him, at Til Schweiger.
Oh, it's very Black Knight, isn't it?
Ow!
Mads Mikkelsen dies.
Oh, Mads Mikkelsen dies, yeah. He gets killed by...
Stellan Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård dies eventually, because Arthur...
Oh, yeah, because Arthur comes and...
slowly hits him with a sword a few times.
Gets him half a pound. Half a pound a king.
He does a little misdirect at the end where he pretends he's all hurt on the ground, and then when Stellan Skarsgård goes to chop his face off, he does a quick backstab.
That'll
stab backwards, not a stab in the back.
Just
he
like
stabs him right in the Skarsgård. And what happens is they spend 30 seconds mourning the dead, and then they go and have a bloody wedding at not Stonehenge on the coast. And
everybody chants Arthur, Arthur, and Ray Winstone's like Artorius, and they're like Arthur, Arthur, and he's like, well, I tried.
I did try. It's
like they're calling you Arthur.
He checks his betting slip and goes, "No, fuck."
And that's the end of the film.
Well, that was bloody King Arthur's director's cut.
That was
Arthur's very own director's cut.
That's what requires King Arthur's director's cut of King Arthur's King Arthur.
Director's cut. Paul, how are you feeling?
Yeah. Huh. So, to be honest, my childhood experience... I didn't go see this at the cinema.
Okay.
I got it on DVD one Christmas. And my childhood experience was largely put it on, spend most of it thinking about my own team of adventurers with their own special weapons and different fighting styles and the mystical lands they travelled and adventures they fought, largely based on an amalgamation of Lord of the Rings, Elder Scrolls, whatever the fuck else was rattling about in the old pool subconscious.
Yeah.
And then when a battle scene came on, I'd pay attention.
Yeah.
So there was an awful lot in here that I hadn't noticed before. Like, I had no idea Dag had a relationship with the kid they rescued. I missed that completely because I didn't watch the 3 scenes that happens in. I love his opening gambit of coming up to the kid and just be like, you mustn't be afraid of me.
Don't you fucking dare.
I'll fucking kill you if you're afraid of me. I'm a confusing man. I love you.
I'm Dag.
So, historical accuracy to fuck. I mean... It's really weird that they decided to market this as, like, the real story of King Arthur. When it's just... It's not. I mean, what they meant was, there's no wizard in this one.
Yeah.
We want to make Gladiator, and we want to do it using King Arthur characters, so we've done that.
Yeah.
That's what they meant. And the only way in which they could market that and not have people complain, wasn't even a dragon in it, was to like say it's based on historical evidence when it's not.
Yeah, it's funny really, because no film has to be historically accurate, and thank God, because it really would severely diminish the number of good historical movies out there. But prefacing
the real story of King Arthur, and then it's just Tony Robertson saying probably didn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, they got there were carriages back in the Roman times, and that's pretty accurate. I'll give them that. However, yeah, the rest of it. That's why I'm here, Tony Robinson, in the cinema, where you're expecting King Arthur's director's cut. But yeah, it's prefacing it with the line that basically says this film is based on real, new archaeological evidence. It raises expectations somewhat, and it does set a standard. So it's a very weird dichotomy there, where you're watching it and going, okay, Saxons from the north, okay, that's fine. Is that Stonehenge? It's probably not. It's okay, it's fine.
It's a fantasy. It's thank God Game of Thrones eventually came along, because we just needed a low fantasy thing.
Yeah.
It's what people wanted. It's like we can't be having all the wizards and stuff and the elves and such, but we want some good battles. And unfortunately, real battles usually sucked. Do you know what most historical battles were? 500 people are in a castle, 1,000 people surround the castle. A year later, either the 500 people give up, or some of the 500 people's friends show up and the 1,000 leg it.
Yeah.
That's battles. That's how battles worked. You didn't go through the risk of meeting in a big open field to hack at each other. I remember that one of my favourite stories about Braveheart, is that Mel Gibson met a Scottish bloke, and the Scottish bloke said, I enjoyed your film. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. Well, I was just wondering why you didn't have a bridge in it. And he said, well, we found having a bridge actually made it really difficult. And the Scottish bloke said, aye, so did the English. Fuck yeah. That old man got laid immediately.
By Mel Gibson.
Okay.
Well, you've done it now. You earned it. You earned a rootin' from the Mel. I really like Vikings for that reason, especially in the early couple of seasons when it's all about the inter-tribal skirmishes from village to village. And like the battle at the end of season 1 is like 10 people just going, ah, and just hacking at each other with swords, and then that's it, you're now the king of my village.
Because, sometimes you get like the Battle of Thermopylae, or something, not Thermopylae, that was that
Monopoly.
Monopoly. Gaugamela, that's the fucking word.
Oh, yeah.
Battle of Gaugamela, about 10 million people showed up at a big field, and they all ran at each other and hit each other as hard as they could.
Like Glastonbury.
120, what's this? 40,000 people died. And then Darius ran off and got poisoned like 2 days later by a concubine.
Oh.
So that's how battles used to do.
Yeah.
It's just, so historical accuracy is not really a big thing for me in this context.
Yeah,
but
no, exactly.
There's no characterization, which is really there's a little bit of characterization, but there's not much, which is a sin considering how good this cast is.
Yeah,
and they do bring some charm.
All the parts are there, right? You've got a really great cast. I would say that I don't think Clive Owen is right for the role of King Arthur.
He wasn't great, was he?
No, I don't think Daniel Craig would have been right either. To be fair, and I will like to.
Was he considered?
I will like to just at this stage bring in a new segment, especially for this episode, called "The Thumb Hole in This Pie Smells Like Jerry Bruckheimer." The thumb hole in this pie smells like Jerry Bruckheimer. That's right. Because Bruckheimer, as producer on this film, he's responsible for some interesting decisions, one of which was casting Clive Owen instead of Daniel Craig, because he had a sneaking suspicion that Owen was to be the next Bond.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yes. On top of that, the wedding at the end was an addition following poor test screenings, who felt that the film spent too much time over the deaths of Lancelot and Tristan, played by Grufford and Nicholson, and audiences felt they needed to cement that romance story that had been given so much energy until now.
Okay.
Which is why you don't get the characters properly grieving the death. Instead, you just go straight to the wedding about the two people who were supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And they also shot some extra comedy scenes where Ray Winstone calls his kids by numbers.
Oh, right.
So that's because of that.
Okay.
To be fair to Jerry Bruckheimer, he did fight Disney's decision to PG-13ify the movie.
Well, that's good.
Which was eventually overruled, where the FX team had to digitally remove the blood from much of the battle scenes.
Oh, but we had the blood. If our director's cut, we had
Yes. They did manage to fuck some of that back into the director's cut, although I don't think it's noticeably bloody. I think they said that they didn't get as much of the blood back in as they wanted to.
They said that about my dad when they did surgery. We got most of it back in. He could blink. We think that's a good sign.
So that was the thumb hole in this pie smells like Jerry Bruckheimer. Clive Owen wasn't right for this, and I feel like I don't think Keira Knightley was right for it either.
I liked Knightley in this, I have to say.
Okay.
How many Britons have you killed?
As many as tried to kill me. It's a natural state of any man to want to live.
Animals live. It's a natural state of any man to want to live free in their own country.
I've had mixed feelings about Knightley in general, but I think I quite like her in general, and she's, doing some proper actressy bits now.
Yeah.
With mixed success, but doing just cheesy stuff like this, I kind of like her presence. There is something a bit odd about her, which I find kind of effective.
When she was in Woad Get Up, that was cool. But
yeah.
I found most of her interactions with Clive Owen, just the two of them together, made for a pretty flat romance.
It's a really bizarre little romance, this one. It's their conversations are largely about the nature of freedom. I mean, Clive Owen's arc here is freedom is the most important thing in the world, and it's in Rome. That's where everyone can be free. Oh, no, it's not. Britain is. Oh, okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't challenge his ideas at all. He just finds out that, Rome isn't great, Britain is.
And it's an arc of sorts, I suppose.
It's very video
gamey
of, hey, you know that corporation you're working for? They're the evil ones.
Evil now.
Now you got to play basically the game again, except against them.
There was talk of making it more of a love triangle, which I think could have been...
Yeah, could have been cool.
Which could have helped characterize those three characters.
More character stuff would have been lovely. Just more interesting stuff, because, take Joel Edgerton's character. He's got an interesting look, and I think he makes an interesting... He's got a fun back and forth with Lancelot about his kids. I imagine that's one of the added scenes.
What about you, Lancelot? What are your plans for home?
Well, if this woman of Gawain's is as beautiful as she claims, I expect to be spending a lot of time at Gawain's house. His wife will welcome the company.
I see. And what will I be doing?
Wondering at your good fortune that all your children look like me.
Is that before or after I hit you with my axe?
There's some riffing there, which I quite enjoy. It just would have been nice if that also translated into... I like the fact that they had different attitudes towards their home. Like, some of them really wanted to go home. Some of them couldn't even remember it. That was quite cool.
Yeah, beyond that, I just don't feel like I knew anything about the characters, except for the things that they said out loud that they stand for.
Yeah. I mean, I only know who they were now because a lot of them have gone on to become quite prominent actors, or at least recognizable actors. Before this, I would not have been able to pick Will Graham apart from Lancelot in a whole bunch of scenes. A very similar look.
Dialogue as well, it just really could have done with... I know David Franzoni's script was rewritten a couple of times, I think, but this film for me was plagued by bad dialogue, and I really wish that there'd have just been... I mean, that's part and parcel of characterization. I think it would have really helped.
Yeah, definitely. It's not enough character stuff. So, yes, I still really like this, though, for the action. The action still does it for me, and the production design, the colours of the whole thing. It bespeaks a time in which combat and battles in movies and historical epics looked a certain way, and it's just something that I really enjoy. And I think I can demonstrate some of the difference here because I have a time-sensitive clip from the new King Arthur, the Guy Ritchie King Arthur, which neither of us have seen. I'm going to send you this clip of a battle, and we're going to offer some narration over this clip. So here we go. Got a bunch of guys. They're about to attack Charlie Hunnam, who is King Arthur. He gets out Excalibur. He touches the hilt, and it turns into a fucking lightsaber. And now it's slow motion, and here he goes hitting people.
God.
Isn't that awful?
That's fucking dumb.
So he's hitting people with swords, and they're just flying through the air like awful ragdolls. Stupid ragdogs.
The ragdogs, like raggedy dogs.
Look at this. Look what's happening here.
Hey everyone, we're the ragdogs. Everyone hates us.
Look at this. He's transitioning out of CGI like Neo in fucking The Matrix Reloaded. The motion, it's going fast motion and slow motion.
This is really so ugly.
Yeah.
That makes me feel
It's
awful.
horrible.
Oh, Christ. I mean, compared to this, King Arthur is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's it. It's that aesthetic. The Peter Jackson / Mel Gibson. I mean, it's all part of the same thing, I think, of them feeding into each other. And it's a style of battle photography that really seemed to have fallen out of grace around the time of 300. And I think part of it is due to the failure of movies like Alexander and Kingdom of Heaven around the same time. And then 300 came along and was like, hey, just make it all CGI. I like 300.
300's great, yeah.
300's a lot of fun because it has some really good choreography, but the aesthetic is not what I prefer when it comes to anything. Really, it's a bit Avatar.
I think as one film, as a novelty,
yes.
It's to 300's benefit, but then when more films come out with that aesthetic, then you go, no, one was fine, one was enough. Yes, the color palette for sure. Yeah. The landscapes, the scenery, some really wonderful shots. I love the like character design. All their unique uniforms is a really cool way of approaching that. I feel like the editing and directing suffered.
Yeah, it was a little quick, a lot of chopping.
The habit, too many cuts and a strange sort of preponderance of isolated shots and close-ups of faces that meant blows were sometimes feeling disconnected, and it was hard to figure out who was where in relation to a fight going on.
It could be, and sometimes there was some very obvious guy didn't get hit.
Yeah.
The most glaring of which is at the very beginning, the first hit in the movie, King Arthur, he lifts up Excalibur and holds it like a dagger and swings it downwards, and a guy falls over who was nowhere fucking near King Arthur at the point when he did that. And it's a very odd shot to keep in the film.
Yeah, it's some of these odd shots that kept reminding me of Monty Python, and it's been through this before when you're reminded of Holy Grail. It's not the greatest of things. But the final battle, particularly when King Clive was fighting Stellan Skarsgård, the camera was like
underneath them,
and I was like, okay, why is the camera in this position? What's it lending to the battle doing this? I felt the American in this, I think is the best way of saying this. There were a few sword in the holster shots that were like bam, fuck yeah, and it felt very at odds with the landscape and the characters.
Well, every so often there would be a quick little move, or there would be a good sound design and a bit of a spray of blood, and it would just bring back to me what I love about some of this stuff. So in that respect, this was definitely one of the weaker. We landed on this because it is, along with Alexander, one of the worst reviewed films, in this canon. And I should talk about the canon. The canon is Braveheart, Mel Gibson, The Messenger, Luc Besson, Gladiator, Ridley Scott, easily the best of these, I think. Although its scores are actually quite close with Braveheart, and Braveheart overtakes on a couple of them, interestingly. The Patriot, Roland Emmerich, another one of the worst ones.
Has its moments.
But not a bad film, actually. It's just unfortunate about the real world stuff, which is another story. The Last Samurai, which I quite like.
I've never seen it.
That could have been... Oh, shit, that could have been it. We could have done that. Troy, Wolfgang Peterson, King Arthur, Antoine Fuqua, Kingdom of Heaven, Ridley Scott, Alexander Oliver Stone. You could also include Master and Commander and the Lord of the Rings movies. That's the canon, and I have so much affection for those. Each one of them has a great big battle sequence in it that just knocks your socks off. So yes, King Arthur doesn't have a charismatic lead. It doesn't have very interesting characters, but it has some of that good stuff. So, should we quick fire?
Go on then. Quick fire.
Quick fire.
I like the cute little Scottish girl who was Lancelot's friend or girlfriend or whatever. She comes running out going, Lancelot! It's very cute.
I've got a couple of notes from that first battle. Lancelot immediately does something that justified me writing, God, Lancelot's awesome. I think he gets his two swords out and just does some really nice business. Tristan does a sword thing that has stayed in my head. It's probably the image of this movie that has stayed in my head, where he just kills two guys with one stroke. He's got a curved sword, and he just does one stroke, guy dead. Another stroke, another guy dead. And it's a very neat little exchange, and it's that moment has always stayed with me.
I really like Mads Mikkelsen's whole character. When there's a sequence, a tiny bit of characterization in there where Hugh Dance is throwing... Will Graham's throwing knives into a post, and Mads Mikkelsen sachets up and just fucking flings his knife into the hilt of Hugh's knife stuck into the post. And he smirks and takes a bite out of an apple. Which is just... only Mads Mikkelsen can do that well. And then...
Tristan.
How do you do that? I aim for the middle.
No, I really like him, and I really like his interactions with his bird. He's got a little bird friend that he kind of bops on the head every now and then and lets go to do various things. But in the very end, just before he's about to go off and die in battle, he lets the bird go and says, "You're free." And it's a kind of sad moment because he knows he doesn't, what does this mean to a bird exactly? But it's something that he's always dreamed of, and now the bird is going to be freer than he'll ever be. Yeah. So it's kind of a sad moment that I quite like.
There's some fairly sad moments. I thought Lancelot's death was pretty sad. And, I out of all the characters, I think he was one of the better drawn. And Yeah, I felt his death the most. And actually, Ray Winstone, who I wasn't that impressed by in the film, when he was grieving over the death of Dag, he was fucking giving it both barrels, mate.
That's what you get from Ray Winstone.
Yeah,
both of them.
And particularly for Ray Winstone, the bit when they realise that they've got to go on one last mission, etc., etc., too old for this shit.
Yeah.
And he's walking off, and one of them goes, "Boars, are you coming?" And he goes, "Of course I'm coming! Can't let you go on your own, you'll get killed!"
Yeah, I like that.
He's like teary, all red-eyed, and it just... Like, Ray Winstone is a fucking good actor. It really annoys me when, like, he mostly isn't.
I liked Ray Winstone with his wife and kids. When he just goes up to his kid and he's like,
Gilly, you been fighting?
Yes.
You been winning?
Yes.
That's my boy. Come on, all my other bastards.
Yay! The kids are so happy.
It's the yay at the end of that. It was great.
And at the end, he's at the funeral, and one of his kids just sort of punches him in the arm. I just love the fact that fucking his kids are such dicks that they'll just turn to him and just punch him every now and then. Fucking hate you, Dad.
They want them to be the twins in Rushmore that made Bill Murray hate them. Actually, the final Ray Winstone moment. There's a moment when they go to free Guinevere, I think. Or it might be when Rebus is holding the boy hostage and he gets an arrow in the Rebus. Ray Winstone turns up on a horse and his horse starts intimidating the soldiers.
That happens a few times.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, the horse just sort of bops into people. I like that, yeah. I really like the mostly empty round table.
Yeah.
It really bespeaks a loss there that we didn't tap into.
Died, yeah.
Like, appropriately, it was an unspoken tragedy there that this table used to be a lot fuller.
Yeah.
It's not now.
So, we've spoken about the UK landscape and the like dreary but lush greens and how beautiful that is. This one shot when Ray Stevenson is booting this fucking door down to get into the death crypt. The background is this like beautiful shot of like icy, like wintry rolling hills and a wide open sky. And the camera again is sort of coming from below. So Ray Stevenson and his little door is in the bottom right hand corner, and the rest of the screen is landscape and this huge sky, and it is absolutely stunning. While he's doing this one repetitive movement in the bottom right hand corner.
For me, the aesthetic of the movie really picked up at the point when it started snowing. There's some gorgeous shots there, especially the night scene at the camp.
Yeah.
There's just some really fabulous use of deep greens and blues that make the whole thing very dreamlike, and I enjoyed it. Very fantasy infused.
Yeah.
I really liked Skarsgaard the Saxon.
Yeah.
Playing it like fucking John Wayne, barely awake, kind of drunk. Yeah. Staggering about the place. It didn't feel lazy. It felt like very definitely a choice of just this guy is so sick of it. You know?
Are you challenging me? If you want to challenge me, you have to have a sword in your hand.
He's just so sick at the fucking war and destruction. He's just barely involved and invested. And at the end, he has some line that's like, "Oh, at last, someone worth killing."
Yeah.
It's like that's all he's been looking for, is just someone he can actually feel enthusiastic about killing again.
When Lancelot, when they were facing down Til Schweiger's men on the ice, and there's the exchange between Lancelot and Guinevere.
Oh yeah.
Where Lancelot goes,
"You look frightened. There's a large number of lonely men out there."
Don't worry, I won't let them rape you.
And it was a very nice, quick, dry 1-2.
Yeah.
And it surprised me that it was in this film.
Good stuff. That is one of the lines that stuck with me from the Teenage Watchers. There's some good horse riding when the Britons sort of spring a trap on King Arthur's men. And they get trapped. There's a lot of very good horse stunting as they run through the forest and tight quarters and have to make a lot of tight turns. And then at the end of it, Dag shouts, "Devil ghosts!" Which is great.
Oh, Dag.
Well, Dag was the heart of this movie. He was the unexpected standout to me.
I love the bad guy convention and Til Schweiger's taking out his frustration with his father by stabbing some rando at the campfire.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Walking off. That practice of villains in movies of killing their own men.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I'm so angry I could spit. I'll stab this guy instead."
That was Jeff.
Hey!
He's been with us for years.
This was his idea.
That was Jeff the Saxon. Knightley looked quite cool in her furs in the snowy landscape when she's just been brought back and she's in the sort of the chariot, whatever it is,
whatever.
What do you call it? Buggy fucking thing.
Plane.
Carriage. She's in that and she just looks kind of neat. And her performance is sort of very languid. I think she's going for Connie Britton from Gladiator. Yeah, I like it.
There was a very good arrow in the eye, courtesy of Mads Mikkelsen.
Nice.
He just brought the pain, that man. And
he
he continues to this day. I'm doing it to you right
in
now.
his own little ways. Now he does metaphorical arrows to the eyes. Check out his latest comedy.
Literal arrows to the eyes.
Speaking of battle stuff, I really like the guys all falling into the ice. It was very Alexander Nevsky. But just, it looked good. You know, they put a lot of work into that stunt. You could tell. Yeah. It really looks like a whole army falling into the ice.
It's good when it looks like the thing it's supposed to be, isn't it?
I enjoy that.
Like, oh, thank
I enjoy
God.
that in a film. It didn't look like a guy buttering his rolls. No. It looked like an army falling into the ice.
Oh, and it's such a fine line between those two things, generally.
Dad, look out! Oh, sorry. You're just buttering a roll. I thought... I don't know what I thought. I'm gonna go lie down.
There was good blood spatter occasionally, especially the one that stood out the most was when Lancelot just beheads one of the Wildmen.
Yeah, that was
the
good.
Wild Woadman. It's just
the wiki wild.
They managed to put a bit more chunk into there, a bit more oomph, a bit more oomph,
a bit more chunk for your bunk. Good. I thought Arthur looked badass when he was on that hill, dressed in his all Roman regalia. In fact, I liked quite a lot of the armor at the end. I really liked Galahad's armor, that golden Eastern-looking. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah,
and Tristan's looks are always tight. His hat was great. I love his battle hat.
Yes. The Dungeon of Sinners is a very grim concept, I thought. Especially with Ned Dennehy in charge. That's just too much.
An awful concept.
But they're sinners, therefore put them in here. We're going to let them die of natural causes of starving to death. And Ned Dennehy is also going to do it because he's a servant of the Lord.
I hate it. Yeah.
He's going to die with them.
Such an unpleasant idea if I volunteered to be literally walled up with these people until we all die.
For the Lord.
Very under the Silver Lake.
Jesus. What's wrong with you?
Okay, the bit where the gate opens and it's just solid mist on the other side and gradually Arthur rides out of it was corny as fuck, but it did look cool. Swirling mists, out of which the legend emerges.
My last thing
is
a good Clive Owen bit when he's in this northern village and he's freeing people from servitude and the shackles of the elite.
Yeah.
And for this entire scene, he comes alive. He's just swaggering and he's mean and rough and he just takes what he wants and he hacks this guy free and then he gets Ray Stevenson to kick a holy door down and he's just in his element here. It's full of confidence. He's cocky and he's really intimidating. And I can see why, for that reason, on that occasion, why he was cast as King Arthur.
Right.
Just wish that he'd had more time to just stretch his legs in that part of King Arthur,
Yeah, that is a shame. But okay, I want to briefly mention Keira Knightley snarling during her fight at the end, which I really liked. That was some good snarling in there. Rivaling the chick from The Purge. She said The Purge.
Le Purge.
Le Purge. But finally, I just want to mention the thing that still stands out to me as being really good, and it's sometimes betrayed by the cinematography and the editing. There's some really good fight choreography here. There's some good little exchanges and flourishes, and Keira Knightley keeps going for people's legs and then up at the face, and it's very... It's kind of how John Wick fights with a knife. That stuff still works really well. So, hey, if you're not up to watching a whole 2 hour plus movie, watch the battle scenes on YouTube and remember a time when this is what warfare looked like, medieval and ancient warfare looked like on film, because it was pretty thrilling.
Lovely.
Okay,
so Paul, are you going to do a one better thing?
No, just I'd recommend the other parts of that canon I mentioned, the other films. I think there's some really special stuff in there. Particular guilty favourite, if we hadn't done this one, I'd like to, at some stage, for us to come back and do maybe Joan of Arc or Troy, because I really do have a lot of warm memories of those. I'd like to, because I actually do dislike Alexander, so I'd love to watch some of the other cuts of that to see if any of them are actually decent, because all I remember is being tremendously bored by that film.
Well, there'll be time for that, my friends.
I do quite like Kingdom of Heaven. Everyone agrees that the actual extended director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is a good film, even with Orlando Bland in the lead. I mean, you still got a great cast in addition to that. You've got David Thewlis, Liam Neeson, Eva Green,
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Blam, blah, blam. Yeah, good films.
Great.
Watch them. I like them. I like films.
Well then.
Films are good.
Hey, do you know what?
Watch them.
I like films too, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to discuss this film today. The Film Boys.
I hope we can talk about another film very soon.
Well, don't count on it.
Oh.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Film Boys.
The newly branded film boys.
Paul, why don't you, seeing as this is a tables turn kind of episode, why don't you tell the listeners how they can get all up in that OGT mush?
Forgot about that part of this format. Okay, everyone, if you want to send us an email, you do that at ogtpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to this episode you've just listened to, you can probably do so at Podbean or iTunes. We're on Facebook, OGTPod. We're on Twitter, @OGTPod. We are part of the A Lot of Green network. So you can be aware of that.
Go on.
And be proud of us for having done so. Because it wasn't easy. There was a whole initiation ritual that we had to do, but we bloody well did it, and now we are actually Australians.
We had to die with an awful lot of pagans to get to this stage.
Yeah, we walled them in, and we walled ourselves in as well, which was foolhardy, but we did it every time. And we're just lucky that they died first, and we could knock and say, all right, we can come out now.
We're actually doing it right now, walling ourselves in with bad movies. One day, hoping that we will ascend to the Lord. And that Lord is A Lot of Green.
But Andrew Garfield just won't let it happen. He's interrupting. Dick. Dockhead by Paul Goodman. You can buy it.
That sounds hot as fuck, Paul. Tell me where I can buy that.
You probably buy it on Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah. And your mate Jeff. He's got a copy.
Fucking will then.
Go buy it off him. He'll charge you twice for what you paid. But that's Jeff.
That's just Jeff.
It's worth it for the Jeff content you get whilst you're there. Speaking of Jeff content, you can find some of that on my reviews at Screen Mayhem. Go check those out. They're saucy. Just reviewed Detective Pikachu. You won't believe what they fit up his butt.
Red sauce. Brown sauce.
All sauces.
Mustard?
Yeah.
Can't tell. Pikachu's yellow.
That's the end of my bit.
Well then, I'm Paul Goodman.
I'm also Paul Goodman.
And remember, the one good thing about King Arthur's director's cut of King Arthur director's cut is all the hallmarks of a classic epic that made those 10 or so years very special for a whole lot of us.
For a whole lot of Pauls.
Excalibur.
Excalibur!
Sign is a bit much.
It's not The Last Jedi.
They're going to be so disappointed when Adrian Brody steps out.
It's turbo time.
Christina, it's turbo time.
Fuck me up against Casablanca, Dave. Dave. Pedantic. No one in their attic.
My favourite Interpol album is Antics.
I am boat. Ow! Land inside of me. I will carry you to safety. Tired boat. Please let boat go. No, agree. Born here. Boat never sleep. Born prisoner. Born a slave. Plain slave. Kill boat.
Barry, I know that you fuck every donut you've ever seen. Nevertheless, I really believe that you are the man to interview the leading donut maker in this entire city.
It's Jaffa.
Around a bunch of his donuts. And also, weirdly, his son is a donut.
That you have fucked before. I thought you were going to say children's-sized feet. Wobbling uncertainly on his tiny feet.
What you say?
Me not understand fair-skinned man.
Me no know the beauty man talk.
Pretty man talk nonsense.
No, seriously, bro. The cavemen are coming and they're gonna wreak vengeance on you.
They're gonna toe 180 on you, man.
What time, woman, man? We kill man? Oh, this isn't going anywhere. Said Superman.